It's almost been a year since I published my Vivosmart 4 review. I really appreciate everyone just kind of watching the video and liking it. And I want to kind of give my 2019 update. It's kind of mid-year and I'm still wearing the watch. I really enjoy it. I keep trying other fitness trackers and I keep coming back to this specific fitness tracker. And I think that's partly because there has been a lot of firmware updates, and also I really like how small and light it is, and it's very unobtrusive when I go to sleep. Now, if you go to the Garmin website and you look at the Vivosmart 4 firmware updates, you can see the changelog, and you can see up to a certain version that they publish all the updates and all the improvements, and that's been really great since I first got the watch. Now, I've noticed that since my first review, the heart rate monitoring has been a lot more accurate, especially during exercises where I'm moving around. I noticed that the heart rate isn't like dipping below 80 when I'm like kind of out of breath. I've compared this to other fitness trackers and smartwatches, and I've noticed that the heart rate is a lot more accurate. So I'm really liking that the firmware updates, the kind of work that Garmin is putting out, has really improved the fitness tracker over the months. Now, you might have seen in my most recent review of the Garmin Forerunner 245, I discovered auto set. And what it is basically when you do your strength training exercises, your kind of weightlifting regimen, it can actually detect when you start a set and when you end the set by using your repetitive motion. It's like, okay, you started a set, let me start tracking that. And then once you stop that repetitive motion, you kind of go out, go for a break or get some water. It quickly and automatically detects that you've stopped that exercise. It has been fantastic on the Forerunner 245. I really enjoyed this feature. It really helps me keep track of when exactly I start and stop my set. So I know that between the time elapsed between sets, I know exactly how much time I've wasted between a set. Sometimes you're doing your chest press and you start going on YouTube or you look at social media and you kind of waste a lot of time between sets. The reason why I use these strength training apps on these fitness trackers is to get into the gym and just get out. It's kind of like a personal coach or motivator. Anyways, so I discovered that this actually exists on the Vivosmart 4, and I actually found out that you have to go into the Connect app and then go into the activity tracking options and then click strength training and then enable auto set. It's like, okay, cool. So I compared the two, and I'll show you a video of me comparing the two.
Set detected.
Now, set stopped. And you can see that the auto set feature is working, but it's working sometimes inaccurately. And particularly what happens is when I finish a set, it'll detect that almost 100%, especially on the 245, the Forerunner 245. It 100% accurately detects when I stop doing a repetitive motion, when I stop my set. That's great, fantastic. So I don't have to press the button to stop the exercise. That's good. However, sometimes I'm taking a break, I'm going for a drinking some water or walking around. It will just mistakenly detect that I'm starting a new exercise. It'll be like, oh, starting a new exercise, a new set or whatever. And that was very frustrating. I would walk around and it would always inaccurately start a new exercise. I noticed with the Forerunner 245, it didn't do that. What happened is that it was more accurate. It didn't, once in a while it would falsely detect an exercise has started, but comparing them both on my wrist, I noticed that the Vivosmart 4 did fail at this. So I just went to get some water and the Vivosmart 4 detected a set, 4 reps, which sucks. It's not very accurate, whereas this one, the Forerunner 245, no set detected, so very accurate in terms of auto set detection. Unfortunately, I really like this feature, but I have it disabled, and that sucks because you basically have to tap this little kind of button right here to start and stop an exercise. And for some reason, my finger gets sweaty or whatever. I tap it once and it detects it as a double tap. And when you double tap, that actually stops the exercise and it asks you, oh, do you want to stop, save it, discard it, whatever. That doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. It's kind of annoying. I would have much preferred to have auto set working perfectly or super accurately, kind of like the Forerunner 245. Unfortunately, it's not. Maybe the algorithms in here are not as sophisticated as on the 245. However, at the end of the day, I still use this as my main rep counter type of fitness tracker because it's small, it's light. I don't mind getting it dirty and sweaty, not like the more expensive 245. And pressing the button to start and stop exercises works okay. It's fine. It's not the best. It's not the most automated, but totally fine. The one thing about auto set I wish that Garmin would have implemented differently, I would have liked it to just automatically stop the exercise, but never start the exercise. It always accurately detected that I stopped doing a repetitive motion, right? When I set the exercise, I'm like, okay, let's do the exercise, do the chest press. That works 100% on both fitness trackers. However, like I said before, it falsely detects new exercise when you're just walking around. And I kind of wish that there was an option to like partly half enable the auto set, only enable it when you want to detect when you complete the exercise. Now, one of the things I complained in my previous video with the sleep tracker is that I wasn't able to seek along the x-axis and see the y value. So what I mean by that is when you're actually viewing the graph, when you sleep, the different stages or your pulse ox, you can't really see like, oh, at this time at 9:45 a.m., I had a blood oxygen saturation rating of 85%. But now you can just long press, or maybe that feature was always there, but now it's not very discoverable. But if you long press, you can actually see the actual value. And that to me is, if they recently added this, it's an amazing feature, and I really appreciate that, you have access to all this detail. One thing that is missing in the sleep section of the Connect app is the ability to annotate your sleep. You want to be able to go and like maybe make a little note and say like, maybe I was drinking too much that night, and then that's the reason why my deep sleep is so bad, or something like that. So Garmin, if you're watching, please give us the option to add notes to our sleep logs. Another cool thing that I love about Garmin watches and fitness trackers is that you can actually go on the desktop, on your laptop, on your browser, and actually see all your information on the Connect app on a beautiful website. And it's just so intuitive. There's so much data. It's really fun to kind of nerd out and look at all the kind of stats and information about you, given that you've been wearing this 24/7. So in terms of other firmware improvements, I've noticed that the pulse ox and the heart rate monitor are obviously more improved. When doing sleep tracking, I noticed that when I am finished my sleep session, when I wake up, I notice that the content, all the sleep data gets synced right away to my Connect app, and I can view it right then. I remember when I first reviewed the Vivosmart 4, it took several hours for it to appear. It was very annoying not being able to see all my sleep data as soon as I woke up. So I really like all these improvements they've done to both the Connect app and the actual firmware of the Vivosmart 4. Other things they improved is just basically the other kind of weird bugs and glitches they had. I know they had some issues with the weather widget, and that has been much improved. I feel like the weather is now more accurate, gives you more up-to-date information. Now, I still love my Vivosmart 4. I really like the form factor. This thing weighs 18 grams. And for example, the Forerunner 245 weighs about 38 grams. So you can definitely feel the difference. That's not to say that the Forerunner 245 is big or bulky. It's actually really slim and very light for a kind of more of a smartwatch type of factor. But this fitness tracker, I don't mind wearing 24/7 all throughout my sleep. I barely notice that it's there, and I keep coming back to it because I just love the form factor of it. Another thing I like about the Vivosmart 4 is that it's relatively cheap in comparison to the other Garmin offerings out there. And the nice part about this is that you don't really have to worry about kind of damaging this. I notice that when I go to the beach, I'm putting on sunscreen, it gets it really dirty, or you're going into dirty lake water, or let's say you're exercising, you're skateboarding, you're doing these very extreme sports. You don't mind getting this scratch because it doesn't cost you a fortune to replace. Whereas those more expensive ones like the Garmin 945, which almost costs $900 in Canada, I don't want to take that out on a run because I feel like if I fall, I'll break it or something like that. And that's just too much money to have on my wrist while doing some crazy sports. Now, one thing that's really annoying with the Garmin Forerunner 245 is that when I go to the pulse ox widget, which basically measures your SpO2 or your blood oxygen saturation reading, it never worked for me. I tried to stay in a very dark environment, and I tried to keep my hand very still and not move, and it would simply just try to find my pulse ox reading, and it would time out, and I would never get it. And I don't know if it's defective. I actually heard on a very popular Garmin blog that he wasn't able to get an accurate reading too. Now, it did work during sleep. The funny thing with the Vivosmart 4 was that I was always able to get an on-demand reading of my pulse ox. If I measured it right now, it would work, unlike the Forerunner 245. I don't know if that means that this pulse ox sensor is more accurate or more sensitive or just better in general than the more expensive watch, the Forerunner 245. So while it's shameful that the Forerunner 245 can't get an on-demand pulse ox reading, I definitely think it's a positive that this Vivosmart 4 is always working. It definitely works in terms of providing you with an on-demand pulse ox reading. Now, in comparison to the Forerunner 245, I like that the Vivosmart 4 gives you the option to change the vibration intensity. With the Forerunner 245, you couldn't. It only had one setting for the smart notifications, and it was a very, very firm, very hard, harsh type of vibration on your wrist. And that was pretty annoying. I mean, I got used to it eventually, but I like being able to set it on the lowest setting on the Vivosmart 4. So really nice to be able to customize the notification vibration setting. Now, coming from a more sophisticated watch like the Forerunner 245, there are some smart features that I'm missing on the Vivosmart 4. Specifically, it has to do with notifications and the calendar, or the lack thereof. With the smart notifications work pretty well. You can have some replies, but you can't interact with the notification. So what I mean by that is if a notification on Android, this is specifically for Android, has a custom, the developer created a custom inline action for that notification, you can't interact it. You can't even dismiss a notification. You can only reply. The worst part about replies is that the set responses are fixed. You can't go into the Garmin Connect app and just customize different types of responses. So they look very generic. With the Forerunner 245, you can actually customize all your text responses. So I don't know why they couldn't do this. I really wish that they give you the flexibility to do that. Another thing with the smart notifications on the Vivosmart 4 that isn't as good as, let's say, a fully fledged smartwatch like the Forerunner 245 is that when you see the notifications, you kind of get a glimpse of the title, but you have to tap the notification to see the content of the notification. And that to me is extremely frustrating. I know it's a small screen, it's very limited. I really wish that they could just flash the title of the notification and then automatically switch to the content so that I could read it and not have to like tap the screen to see the notification content. The thing is, Fitbit did a really good implementation of their notifications. And I think that if they increase the screen size of the Vivosmart, perhaps in the Vivosmart 5, it would be almost perfect. Another smart feature I really miss is not having a calendar widget on my Vivosmart 4. I don't know why they didn't include this. I think it would be a very handy widget to have to be able to see all your calendar events. Kind of like as you scroll, you should be able to see all your calendar events, the times and stuff like that. I don't know why they didn't include that. I think they can do it even on the small screen real estate of this kind of fitness tracker. So I really think it sucks. I mean, you can get notifications when an event is about to happen, but you have to go on Google and customize each kind of event to have a notification, which is kind of annoying. A very important exercise that is missing is that it doesn't have biking, strangely enough. And you'd think that biking is a very common type of sport, and it doesn't have it. That's very unfortunate. My last little nitpick about the Vivosmart 4 to this day in 2019 is that there isn't that much customization in terms of the watch face. I really wish that I could have perhaps the weather and the date and the time all on one screen. I wish I could customize different data sets. So Garmin, if you are watching this, I think you can make the Vivosmart 4, or at least the next iteration, the Vivosmart 5, much better. If one, you include better notifications, definitely give us the ability to interact with notifications, see the content more easily without having to tap the screen. Secondly, please give us a calendar widget. I think that's really important. I don't think, given that the screen real estate is so small, I still think you can implement such a type of feature because there's many ways of doing it. And lastly, it would really be nice if you could improve auto set. I mean, I know this is a niche feature for like people who go to the gym with a fitness tracker and do weightlifting. At least disabling the auto start and just having the auto end of a set enabled. That would be really nice. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Vivosmart 4 is still one of the best fitness trackers given the form factor in 2019 still? What do you guys want to see in the next iteration of the Vivosmart? I'm really excited for the Vivosmart 5. I really like this line of this series of type of fitness trackers. I kind of wish that they'll perhaps maybe give a slightly bigger screen to make notifications more legible, but I don't want them to sacrifice the form factor. I think this is one of the defining characteristics of the Vivosmart series is how slim and light and tiny it is and kind of unobtrusive when you go to sleep. So definitely, I'm really looking forward to the future of Garmin wearables, especially the Vivosmart. Thanks for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give a like. It really helps the channel. And definitely subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I post wearable related content every week. So definitely check out this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.